Hey, everyone, and welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about Nepal trekking.
Ooh, fun.
It's something that a lot of you have written into us about.
Yeah, we've had tons of questions.
And, you've been sharing some exciting plans with us. You're thinking about a trek in Nepal.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah. Drawn to those breathtaking Himalayan landscapes.
Oh, yeah.
And, the spirit of adventure.
The spirit of adventure.
You've been looking online at different group treks.
Yeah.
And let's face it, some of those prices seem almost too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
So that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah, so it's great that you're doing your research.
Yes.
There's a lot to consider when planning a trek like this, and our deep dive today is based on the work of David Ways,
Okay.
author and founder of the Longest Way Home travel blog.
Cool.
He's quite the expert on trekking in Nepal,
Excellent.
and he has some really valuable insights that can help you
Awesome.
make the most of your adventure.
The mission of this deep dive is to
Yes.
really understand the nuances of those budget-friendly group treks and also explore why booking a private guide might actually be a smarter way to experience the magic of the Himalayas.
All right, so let's start with the allure of a good deal.
Okay.
Those budget group treks
Yeah.
are super appealing, especially for first-time trekkers.
Yeah, I can definitely see the appeal, especially when you're on a budget.
Yeah.
But as David Ways points out,
Yeah.
we need to look beyond those flashy price tags
Right.
and understand what's really going on behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
What is going on behind the scenes?
Well, you'll find a lot of these group trekking websites
Right.
are actually run by third-party companies outside of Nepal.
Interesting.
They're essentially middlemen who take a commission
Okay.
and then pass your booking on to a local agency, often choosing the agency that offers the lowest price.
So you're not really dealing directly with the people who will be guiding you on the trek.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about the level of transparency and control you have
Yeah.
as a trekker.
Transparency and control are really important.
Yes.
And those low prices
Yeah.
often come with trade-offs.
Okay.
To make a profit, these companies need to fill large groups.
I see.
That means you might think you're signing up for a small, intimate trek,
Right.
but you could end up merged with another group,
Wow.
sometimes without even knowing until you arrive in Nepal.
That could definitely lead to some surprises. I'm picturing myself showing up all excited for a close-knit trekking experience.
Yeah.
And suddenly finding myself in a group of 20 strangers.
Yeah, it can definitely change the dynamic of the trek.
Yeah.
Another important point David Ways raises
Right.
is the use of porters as substitute guides.
And there's...
While porters are incredibly strong and helpful in carrying gear,
Yeah.
they don't always have the training or English skills
Right.
to provide the in-depth cultural and informational experience you'd
Yeah.
expect from a guide.
So you might not get the same level of insight into the local culture and environment
Right.
as you would with a qualified guide. That's a really important factor to consider.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And here's something else to think about.
okay.
Even within these larger groups,
Okay.
there can be differences in the experience based on what each person paid.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, the accommodations and meals can vary.
Oh, okay.
People who paid less might end up in more basic lodgings or with fewer food options,
Right.
while others in the same group who paid more
Yep.
get a more comfortable experience.
It doesn't seem very fair. It could definitely create some tension within the group if some people feel like they're getting a lesser experience.
Yeah.
Just because they paid a lower price.
It can cause some issues for sure.
For sure.
And then there's the whole group dynamic itself.
Yeah.
Having a diverse group might sound nice in theory,
Right.
but in practice, it can lead to logistical challenges.
Okay.
Think about it. People have different paces, interests, and languages.
Oh, of course.
It can be difficult to keep everyone happy and on schedule.
I imagine.
David Ways mentions examples of a chain-smoking couple struggling at higher altitudes.
Oh, wow.
Or a couple monopolizing the guide's attention.
Oh, no.
It's a reminder that these sorts of situations
Right.
can impact everyone's experience.
Those real-life anecdotes really paint a picture.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that while those big group treks might seem appealing from a budget perspective, there can be some hidden drawbacks that might not be immediately obvious.
Yeah, you got to look beneath the surface.
We need to consider the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
Yes, absolutely. We also need to think about the impact of these large groups on the environment.
Oh, that's a good point.
The Himalayas are fragile ecosystems.
Yes, they are.
And a large influx of trekkers can put a strain on local resources like water.
Yeah.
and contribute to issues with waste disposal.
Waste disposal is a big problem.
We want to be mindful of our footprint
Right.
and choose options that are sustainable for the environment and the communities we're visiting.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's about being responsible travelers
Yeah.
and making choices that benefit everyone involved.
That's a great point to end on for this section.
For this part one?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so we were talking about, and of course we can't forget about safety, especially if you're in a large group in a medical emergency. A quick response is crucial.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
I imagine being in a remote area with a large group could complicate things if someone needs immediate medical attention.
Exactly. It could lead to delays, especially if resources are limited, and that there's also the pressure to keep up with the group, which might not be the best thing if someone is struggling.
I can see how that could create a risky situation.
Yeah.
So far, we've been talking about potential downsides of large group treks.
Right.
Let's shift gears now and talk about the alternative, hiring a private guide.
Yeah, let's do it.
What are the advantages there?
One of the biggest advantages is flexibility with a private guide. You have the freedom to set your own pace, explore off-the-beaten-path trails, and really immerse yourself in the local culture at your own rhythm.
So if I'm understanding correctly, a private guide gives me the freedom to tailor the trek to my own interests and abilities.
Precisely. You're not bound by a fixed itinerary or the needs of a large group. If you want to spend extra time at a particular viewpoint, you can.
Nice.
If you want to try a local homestay instead of a tea house, you can. It's all about creating a personalized experience.
That sounds incredible. It takes the pressure off of having to keep up with a group and allows you to really savor the experience.
Yes, exactly.
But what about the cost?
Uh-huh.
I imagine a private guide is significantly more expensive than joining a large group trek.
Well, it's true that a private guide comes at a higher upfront cost. However, it's essential to consider the value you're receiving in return. Remember all those compromises we talked about with those budget group treks?
Yeah.
Things like unpredictable group sizes, potential food and accommodation disparities, and the possibility of not having a truly qualified guide.
Yeah, those are important considerations. It's not just about the initial price tag, it's about the overall quality and value of the experience.
Right, and when you factor in those hidden costs and compromises, the price difference might not be as dramatic as it seems initially. To illustrate this, David Weiss compares two Everest Base Camp trek options in his article.
All right.
He got a quote for a cheap group trek at $800
Okay.
and a private guide trek for around $1,500.
Okay, so on the surface, that seems like double the price. But if we break down those costs, considering the potential compromises we discussed,
Yeah.
the difference might become less significant.
That's the key. Let's look closer at that $800 group trek, just your round-trip flights to Lukla. The gateway to the Everest region will likely cost around $460. That leaves only $340 for everything else permits food, accommodation, guide, fees, transportation, and so on.
Wow, that comes out to about $23 per day for all those expenses. I had no idea.
It's pretty tight.
Considering that even a basic meal like dal bhat can cost around $8 in the mountains, that doesn't leave much room for accommodation guide fees or other essentials.
Exactly. It makes you wonder how they can offer such low prices without compromising on quality and safety.
It's starting to sound like those super cheap treks might involve more hidden costs or cut corners in ways that could impact the trekker's experience.
That's a valid concern. Now, let's compare that to the $1,500 private guide trek. It might seem like a big jump from $800, but remember, you're investing in a completely different level of service and experience.
Right.
You're getting a dedicated guide who speaks English, understands your needs, and can personalize the trek to match your interests and fitness level. You get to choose your accommodations, enjoy a wider variety of meals, and explore at your own pace. There's no pressure to keep up with the group or compromise on your comfort.
It's like choosing between taking a crowded tour bus or opting for a private car with a personal driver.
Exactly. With a private guide, you're getting a more personalized and intimate experience, and it's not just about the logistics. You also have the opportunity to build a real connection with your guide, learning about their life, their culture, and their perspective on the world.
That personal connection can elevate a trip from a simple sightseeing tour to a truly immersive cultural experience. It's about making memories that last a lifetime.
That's the beauty of it. You're not just trekking through stunning landscapes. You're also connecting with the heart and soul of the Himalayas.
That's a powerful way to put it now. While we've been discussing the benefits of a private guide, I realize that not everyone has $1,500 to spend on a trek.
Right.
Are there ways to make this option more affordable?
Absolutely. One of the best things you can do is research thoroughly and seek out independent sources of information. David Weiss cautions against relying solely on sponsored content from influencers who often have agreements with certain companies and might not be completely objective.
So it's about digging a little deeper and looking beyond those glossy Instagram posts. Where can we find those reliable sources of information?
Look for unbiased travel blogs, online forums, and reviews from other trekkers. This will give you a more realistic idea of costs, help you identify reputable local agencies, and steer you away from those underpriced scams or overpriced luxury treks. It's all about finding that sweet spot, that balance between cost, quality, and the experience you're seeking.
That makes sense. And are there any other tips for finding a reliable guide?
David Weiss actually offers a guide finding service on his website, which is a great resource. He also has detailed guidebooks that go beyond the typical tourist trails, offering insights and recommendations based on years of experience. His guidebooks can help you discover hidden gems and create your own unique adventure, even if you're on a budget.
So it's about empowering yourself as a traveler and taking ownership of your trip planning.
Exactly. Don't feel like you have to rely on those big online booking sites. There are other options out there. And remember, you can always opt for a shorter trek or a less popular region, which can reduce costs significantly without sacrificing the incredible Himalayan experience.
Those are some great tips. It's inspiring to know that there are ways to make these adventures accessible, even if you're not working with an unlimited budget.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, the most valuable takeaway from David Weiss' work is this. When planning your Nepal trek, don't just focus on the price tag. Think about the type of experience you want to have. Ask yourself, what's more important to me? Saving a few $100s or having a safe, culturally enriching, and unforgettable adventure?
That's such a great question to ask yourself. It helps you prioritize what truly matters and make choices that align with your values. So instead of simply jumping on the cheapest deal, it's about investing the time to research, explore your options, and perhaps consider investing in a private guide who can unlock the magic of Nepal for you.
David Weiss' insights have given us a lot to think about, but there's one more crucial aspect of trekking in Nepal that we need to talk about, regardless of whether you choose a group trek or a private guide, and it can make or break your experience.
Oh, I'm all ears. What is it? So what is it?
It's all about preparation
Right.
and what you pack for your trek.
Okay.
David Weiss stresses that having the right gear can
Yeah.
make all the difference in your comfort and safety, especially given the unpredictable mountain weather.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The Himalayas are known for their challenging conditions.
Oh, yeah.
So what are some must-have items
Okay.
that we should definitely pack?
Well, sturdy and comfortable hiking boots are essential.
Okay.
You'll be covering a lot of ground, so your feet need to be well protected and supported.
Right.
David emphasizes breaking in your boots before the trek
Oh, for sure.
to avoid blisters and discomfort.
Great tip. There's nothing worse than starting a trek with sore feet. What about clothing?
Layering is key.
Okay.
The temperature can fluctuate drastically throughout the day.
Right. From chilly mornings to warm afternoons and back to freezing nights.
Wow.
Pack moisture-wicking base layers, insulating mid-layers like fleece or down, and a waterproof and windproof outer shell.
I'm picturing those stunning mountain views,
Oh, yeah,
but also realizing that weather can change in an instant.
for sure.
Being prepared is essential.
Hmm.
So what else should we consider?
A good quality sleeping bag
Okay.
rated for cold temperatures is a must.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You'll be sleeping at high altitudes where it can get very cold, even in tea houses.
Right.
A comfortable sleeping bag can make a world of difference in getting a good night's rest.
Sleep is so important, especially when you're exerting yourself physically. Are there any other gear essentials we should keep in mind?
Definitely a headlamp is crucial for navigating trails in the dark or finding your way around tea houses at night.
Okay.
Trekking poles
Yeah.
can help reduce strain on your knees, especially during descents.
Good to know.
And don't forget a first aid kit with essentials like blister treatment, pain relievers, and altitude sickness medication. It sounds like being prepared for every scenario is key to a successful and enjoyable trek.
Absolutely. David also recommends packing items that can enhance your cultural experience and help you connect with the locals.
Oh, cool.
He suggests bringing small gifts like postcards from your home country
Awesome.
or educational materials
Yeah.
to share with the children you might meet along the way.
That's a thoughtful way to show appreciation and respect for the local communities. It's about more than just conquering the trails.
Right.
It's about cultural exchange.
Exactly. It's about immersing yourself in the richness of the Himalayan culture. Now, let's circle back to what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Choosing between a group trek or a private guide.
Right.
David Weiss emphasizes that no matter which option you choose,
Yeah.
The success of your trek depends heavily on the guide.
So even if I decide to join a group trek, it's still crucial to consider the guide's qualifications and experience.
Absolutely. A knowledgeable and experienced guide can elevate the entire trekking experience. They can share fascinating insights into the local culture, history, and environment. They can also ensure your safety and well-being, which is paramount, especially in such a challenging terrain.
So how do we find a reputable guide, whether for a group trek or a private one? What should we look for?
David Weiss suggests asking a lot of questions, find out about the guide's experience, training, and certifications. Ask about their knowledge of the specific route you're planning to trek. Don't be afraid to inquire about their safety protocols and how they handle emergencies. It's your trek, and you have the right to be informed.
That's great advice. It empowers us as trekkers to take control of our experience and choose a guide who aligns with our values and expectations.
Exactly. Remember, your guide is your companion, your mentor, and your safety net throughout the trek.
Right.
Choosing the right guide can make all the difference in creating memories that will last a lifetime.
This deep dive has been packed with incredible insights and practical tips. I feel much more confident and informed about planning a trek to Nepal.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, the journey begins long before you set foot on the trails. It starts with research preparation and a sense of adventure.
So to our listeners, don't just dream about trekking in the Himalayas. Make it happen. Explore those options. Ask those questions and find the perfect guide who can help you discover the magic of Nepal.
Happy trekking, everyone!